The purpose of this video is to educate our end users on how to do a gather logs and then how to read your logs to try to figure out what might be wrong with your software. I've got SpeechCat open here, but regardless of which one of our products you are in, if you go to View, Show Files, you'll see that the very second icon is the Gather Logs icon. If you click on Gather Logs, it'll ask you where you want to put the Gather Logs. By default, the desktop is selected. I'm going to just click on OK, and it automatically went to my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and close SpeechCat. I'm going to double click on the log file, and that will open up the zip folder and show me program data, and it'll also show me several other files. Let's look at those files. One is called Installed Programs Gathered by AudioScribe. Let's double click on that one. That's actually going to show every application that's installed on your computer. And you can see the name of the file. This can be pretty long depending on how many applications you have installed on your computer. So that's all this is a list of applications installed on your computer and the version number of those applications, as well as the key name for those applications inside your Windows software. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. Notes gathered by AudioScribe support. Let's open that one. Here it says USB power management is enabled. Please disable it. So let's go over here to the search window and we're going to type in Device Manager. That's going to open up the Device Manager. And we are going to go down to the bottom where it says Universal Serial Bus Controllers. You'll see Universal Serial Bus Devices. If you go to Controllers, everything that says Hub, if you right click on it and click on Properties and go to Power Management, there should be no check in the box where it says allow the computer to turn off this device to save power. We're going to go to each one of the ones that say Hub and we're going to check that. Especially if you use a hub. Here we go. Here's one that has this checked. This means that this device can be turned off after 15 minutes. We do not want that on any of our hubs. So I'm going to deselect the check and click on OK. Move to the next one. There's another one. I'm going to deselect that. You want to check everything. If you're not sure of what has a power management tab, then you want to check everything under this list. If you know what does and does not have power management, then you can only go to those items and deselect them. This says allow this device to wake the computer. I'm fine with it waking the computer. but I don't want it ever to turn the computer off. These that say composite device do not normally have a power management tab, so you do not need to check those. Let's check about the mass storage device. It does have power management. We want that off as well. That's your external hard drive. We do not want that checked. Printing support most likely won't have power management. Here's some more hubs, so we want to check those. Okay, so we've checked all of them. Now we can close Device Manager. So we know that we have seen about this issue. Processes gathered. Let's double click on that one. This one normally I don't do anything with. So I'm going to close that one. The boot log I don't even look at. The SpeechCat recorder log I look at. There's no problems there. Let's look at the engine log. And you can see that this log begins on 11/1/2019, which was most likely when I first got this new computer. And it is going to tell me it's checking for speakers, number of users. This is all about Dragon. So the only thing that you're going to find in this file is information about your Dragon installation. If you want to go all the way to the bottom, you can do Control End, and that's going to get you all the way to the bottom. And normally I start from the bottom because that is the most current, and I search up to see if I've got any current errors that might be plaguing my Dragon installation. I'm not finding anything that says error, so, and that is going back to the beginning of the month. There are no errors that I can see. A good way to find errors is to just do Control F and type in the word error and find next. Now notice it's going down. If I say up, which is what I really want, the last time that I reported an error was on the 23rd of March, and it looks like it had something to do with my results box. I'm gonna do find next again, and it looks like I was having issues with the results box for some reason. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of here. Generally, if I see an error here and I'm having problems with Dragon, I'll go look more into the AS log and see if it is also reporting errors on these same days. So I'm going to do Control F and go down. Let's see, I'm going to just do, okay, so I'm at the end. Let me go to Control End. And I'm going to look up for an error. So the last error was on 3/23. I'm going to make a note of that, 3/23/20. And I'm going to see if I have any errors in my AS log file that relate to that date. So I'm going to close out of this, and the last list here is the utterance log. Does not look like there are any problems in my utterance log. Now I'm going to double click on program data. I'm going to double click on AudioScribe. I'm going to double click on Court Reporter, and that will take me to my AS log. This is what's going to give you the most information. So again, I'm going to do Control End. This is normally a very big file because it's got a lot of information in the file. Again, I'm going to do Control F, and the word error is already in there, and I'm going to click on Find Next in the up direction. And let's see when this was. Okay, this was 5.6. Could not find a part of the path. Okay, this was most likely in version 10.3.61. So I will make a note that on 5.6.2020 in version 10.3.0.61 there was, it looks like it had to do with backup. Let's see. I'm going to go to Find Next again. This looks like an identical error. And again, it's telling me that the cover for a style that I was using did not exist. This is the same error that I saw the first time. I'm going to Find Next again. So in this case, because I don't know what this file, this particular error is about, I would most likely highlight the error or make a note of some type. Like I'm going to go ahead and add 3 asterisks to show the programmer this, since I don't know what's causing it. I'm going to go to Find Next again, and this again is the exact same error that's happening. And so this error is most likely going to happen all the way till I get to version 60. And I might look at this in more detail. Okay, so the error exists in version 60 as well. So I'm going to make a note of that. And I report these things to the programmer so that they can be fixed. And some of these errors are very self-explanatory. I was working on a style, a sound setup here, and I had given 2 of the channels the same name. So that's what that error is about. And we have another error that needs to be reported. And so I just make my notes so that I can come back and find them after I do a search of all So here it's telling me that we've got a device that isn't found, which is the Andrea stereo, because that was the device that was listed right before the error. And so this probably means that I didn't have it plugged in, or the device went bad. You can see here the Andrea stereo is erroring out. So most likely my Andrea stereo device went bad, and that's what it's telling me. It's saying that this Andrea didn't have a proper driver, and so it could be that the wrong driver is selected for the device, or it could be that the device has simply gone bad. So if I wanted to see if the driver was bad on a device, I'd go back to the device manager normally, and I'd go down to Universal Serial Bus Controllers, or I could even go to my sound controllers and specifically go to the Andrea stereo and go to update driver, search automatically for the driver, and it's going to tell me whether or not the driver is appropriate, or whether or not there is a newer driver that can be found in the system. Now here it's saying that the best driver for the device is already installed, but it's also calling it a pure audio, which it is not. So this is the driver for the Andrea Pure Audio, which is from 2011, which is really, really old, and there should be a more current driver for that. But yet it's saying that the Andrea Pure Audio USB-SA, that's the most current driver, which I don't necessarily believe. So when I see as many errors as this, generally I'm going to forward this to the programmer and say, look at all these errors. Why are we having all these errors? Please let me know. Especially when they all have to do with the sound setup. I'm going to go ahead and close this and save. I don't want to save anything because I don't want to alter anything. We can open up the Digitran log and go to the end, Control End, Control F, and look for errors. And again, we've got errors on the wave in stop. I'm going to close this and open up some other logs. And I'm going to go to the end with Control End, and I'm going to do Control F and my next. Okay, no style was selected. Okay, here it looks like someone was trying to modify a style, but the modification of the style failed for some reason. Let's go back up again. Covers don't exist. Cert doesn't exist. So pages don't exist in the style. Please turn off the SRE mic before opening job information. So a lot of the errors that you're going to see, you may not understand, and that's okay. Some you are going to understand, they'll be very obvious, like you imported a style, but the cover and certificate didn't come with it in the case of that style. Let's see. Kill process is denied. Okay, so somebody was trying to make an outgoing call, as in to a real-time feed, and it wasn't working, and it's saying that the COM port, it's telling you that you're using the internet here because it's an ICOM port, which means internet. And here it looks like somebody was trying to use the INDB9 foot pedal, which very few people even have anymore because that's a serial foot pedal. So I'm not sure if this person selected the wrong type of foot pedal. That would have certainly been a good reason for the foot pedal not working, if you select the wrong kind of foot pedal. Here's that wave in stop error. Sometimes these errors give us a good idea of the problem, and other times they really don't. And when they don't, we send them to the programmer for the programmer to look at them a little more thoroughly than we do. Now we're going to look at the recorder.log, the recorder log, which from opening the log file, you'll go to Program Data, double-click, AudioScribe, double-click, and then you'll see the recorder log, double-click, and we'll maximize that. Now, what you're seeing here is your selection, what your selection is every time you create and go in to a job. So you'll see that recorder started, recorder created, loading, needed new writer. Now I do a great deal of changing my sound setup because I work with different people, and so that's why you're going to see such an array of differences. I'm going to do Control A, and I'm going to go to edit the font. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can make this much smaller. Maybe not that small. Okay, so now what this does is it gives you a better idea of one and the other. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just put a separation between dates so that you can see the differences. And the reason you're not seeing every single day is because it's only going to report a change in your sound setup when there has been a change in your sound setup, whether that means you've had a device that suddenly is not working, or you've actually made a change. So you can see that there are long periods of time that I go between not having a change, and then there are sometimes when the change happens multiple times. So you can see exactly what device you're using when you're looking at your logs, because it tells you what it's called. Room mic 3 is right here, the Andrea stereo. Here we have the Andrea Com USA. That's the voice track. That's a Pure Audio SA being used as the voice track. So you can see things do vary from one date to another. But basically what you're doing is you're looking at what devices you are utilizing to record what tracks. It's telling you what channel you're using. Giving you a ton of information. And you, like I said earlier, you may not always be able to read and understand this information, but it will give you some information that you normally otherwise would not have. And so in that way, logs are tremendously beneficial. So I'm going to go ahead and save my changes, and I'll just add maybe the word viewed so that I know that I've looked at it. It's not going to let me save it to the zipped folder, so I'm going to go ahead and save it to another place on my computer. And projects, customer logs, save. Okay. You can certainly look at the zip log. This is a very old log, it looks like. I'm going to do Control End. So here, I just want to point out that the error that I was concerned about earlier is located here in my zip log. So that's good information too, to know that your errors are also written here, and that gives us more information. All of these logs give us information that we would not otherwise have. There is a Digitran log as well. This also is telling you what devices you are using. It's also telling you that here on 11.2.19 I had the mirror option set, and it was telling you where the mirrored file was going to. So that's very good information as well. these phrase replacements and word replacements are from your main real-time rules folder. So this is what is in your main real-time rules. Those really are the primary logs that we look at and what we look for in the logs. So I hope that I have been able to educate you a little bit about SpeechCat gather logs. Thanks for listening.